where would you like to put this show on?
Mm-hmm.
Right? What kind of streaming networks and anyone watching, you know? Get this guy before he blows up. Don't sleep on him. They'll be sad. And they will.
Let's sit on the couch. Let's talk it out. Come on, join the show. I'll tell you what I know. Oh, talk about it. It's the best podcast. Let's have a blast. Season 3 is so much fun. I know that everybody has been tuning in for the fun, for the healing, for the chaos, and it's only amplifying, right? So I'm about to get red, and not like red for filth, not like shady read, right? We're doing a reading in this space, and I'm so excited. It's about to be a great time. Now, tarot card reading, it's a very specific, field, right? And so it's like a practice of divining wisdom and guidance through a specific spread of tarot cards. And we're going to get into more, but it involves your birth chart, the stars, the universe, and all of the magic that lives in between. A friend of the show, Natalie, is on the couch, who is a filmmaker, actress, mind and body therapist, and a medium to God. Thank you for coming back.
Thank you for having me.
Natalie has been on the show before it was visual, 2019, and what a great episode that was. But so much has evolved. I've evolved. You've evolved. That was pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
So we're different people.
Yeah.
So thank you for coming on and joining me in talking to me about your recent project and, doing a reading and getting deep down into like what's going on, right? Mm-hmm. So please tell me really quickly, how does tarot cards help, and how did you get into it?
So tarot, I'll start with how I got into it, right? Yeah. So I was raised very Christian. I was grown up in the faith and really believed in God, and I never actually wanted to leave that form of my life, but I was searching for something, just some sort of an answer. How could I get closer to God in a way that didn't involve even like a physical church and the people involved in it? How could I have this one-on-one relationship? And I went through a journey, and I went through a lot as a person trying to figure out who I was. And eventually what ended up happening was I was writing a script, and I was writing a script about tarot, and I didn't know how it worked. So I used a deck that was left in my house for a couple of days that someone left behind, and I just Googled how do you do a spread? Yeah. And I asked a question that only I would know the answer to, and the answer freaked me out. That was so identical to what I needed to hear in that moment. Mm-hmm. And it was just something about personal growth that I needed to figure out, and I started to wonder, what is this fear behind tarot that I had, and what was this thought that I had, like, is it not connected to God, and what does this mean? And so many people were telling me it is and it isn't, and so I just decided to research, because I'm a deep researcher. Yeah. And I love to learn. And so I went in and I started to find out that tarot was actually just an invention back in the day. We don't have an exact year. We do think it's between the end of the 1300s going into the 1400s. But there was a deck of cards that appeared. And these deck of cards each explain the archetypes of what a person goes through in their journey from beginning to end, right? And the archetypes display different people that we become and different aspects of ourselves. Yeah. And one of those archetypes even had to be, the God archetype and things of that nature. And tarot itself was actually just supposed to be a bunch of pictures identifying the growth that we go as a human without having to explain it in a book, because back then they used to burn books that spoke of anything that was religious, anything of God, anything of connection with, nature of that sort. And so the deck appeared, and it came, some people say it came from Egypt, some people say it came from Italy. Either way, we just know that it all said the same thing, which is, here's the story of the fool that goes from the fool to the world, and you go through this whole awareness. So when I learned that about tarot, I started to learn that there was a lot more about tarot that was actually closely related to God and the search for awakening. Yeah,
that's beautiful. And you're a creative as well, filmmaker, like I mentioned, and so you eventually morph those two passions, and then you develop the character called Cloro.
Yes.
And now you have this project. You just participated in the 48-hour film festival. How? Give me more.
Okay. So, Cloro is actually like my love letter to all of us out there who are struggling and don't want to do the right thing within, right? She's the version of us that says, I'm just going to be human, right? And so I made this character who's like a person who's struggling spiritually, who wants to do the best she can, but then, obviously chooses what her soul, her ego says in the moment, and then that growth of what she goes through as a person. And so I created her on Instagram. It was just like a silly little video that actually blew up. And then that video ended up getting in the hands of someone who worked at Second City. That person ended up putting me in front of DreamWorks and saying, oh, you should do a stand-up show as Cloro. My first ever time doing stand-up in front of DreamWorks. There was like casting directors and people there.
That's
and like,
intense.
it was insane. It was so exhilarating. I like, it went well. So I was like, oh, okay, maybe I should do this more. And then it just kept evolving. And then boom, 48-hour film festival comes around. And that's a different like setup because that you don't know the prompt you're going to get.
Yeah.
You don't know anything. You just know that at Friday night at 7 p.m. you're going to receive a genre and you have to have a film by 7 p.m. Sunday. 2 days later.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Written, directed, shot, edited, the whole thing. So I did what I knew best, was just I was like, oh, I'll be Cloro. I was like, that's a character and I can write it. And of course, the genre that we got was perfect. It was fantasy and time travel.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, come on.
Yeah, I'm good.
So I got to like write a love story basically about her avenging those who have wronged her in this time travel story. And that's kind of what I do with the film.
Yeah. And then also you are very passionate about creating projects that are specifically aimed for a women audience and also, showing that, women can also do filmmaking and all these different things. Speak to me a little bit more about that.
So, when I first moved out here, I've been in LA now for 10 years and I worked with amazing people, lovely individuals. But something that I always noticed on every set was there was a lack of women.
Yeah.
There was a lack of women in color. There was a lack of just everything that wasn't a man, right? So
or a white man specifically.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I was like, okay. So I worked with wonderful people, but I thought, I need to kind of create a set one day that it just reflects every single person in the world, every face that we see.
Yeah.
So when I created the set, that's kind of what I went in mind with. I chose, I did kind of I called it my Noah's Ark theme. It was twos of everything. I chose two people that were good at each thing, right?
Yeah.
So I had two people who had a pair because I feel like we're good in twos, and then two different points of views. And so when I built that set together, like literally everybody had each other's backs. It was so beautiful. And we all like worked together and gave all different opinions. And it kind of inspired me even more so now to like do that as I, cast all the rest of my other projects.
Yeah.
But this board, like it gifted me, the ability to now have my production company, Starseed Production. And now I'm creating films right now for, women who are finding their voices not seen on film or TV. And I'm trying to tell the stories of those who feel like, they're struggling.
Yeah, yeah. And I do want to know, when we're speaking of the tarot world, how do you respond to people that associate it with like evil?
I say we fear things we do not understand.
Period.
Right?
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Now I would say that, it's like I had a fear of it. I even made fun of it, right? And because I thought it was like a gypsy and a fortune teller and somebody scamming you.
Yeah.
And yes, there are people who do that. There is duality in this world, right? But there's also light.
Yeah.
And like when you introduced me, that's like kind of like, the title I love to stick by, which is medium to God. I feel like sometimes we get a little lost. We're looking for God, and it's always great to have that voice, just someone there that says, I see you, I hear you, and here you go,
Yeah.
So tarot for me, it's like, it's a visual. Sometimes I don't even need it. I'll just kind of sit and sometimes speak, astrology is great because you get to use stars to like look at what's kind of happening in the moment.
Yeah.
But to tell you the truth, personally, I love just speaking from within and just going. Like a lot of my readings now, I don't use anything.
No, you're really good. You're really
Thank
good.
you.
I had the opportunity to experience it, and I want to check in because it's been like 3-4 years have passed, and I want to. Can we do a live one?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So you're in control now. You are narrating and hosting the podcast. I'm following your lead.
Okay, I want to do something with you. All right. I want you to pick one of these decks. Which one?
I'm gonna go with the bag.
The back. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. So here. So hold these.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, the powers that be.
And so I'm going to speak.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're going to hold them. And at the end of this, I will have you pull a card. And that will be your card for the year.
For the year.
For the year.
That's intense.
Yeah.
Okay, for the
Like
year.
a theme.
Okay.
An overarching theme.
Yeah.
Okay?
Is this fourth quarter yet? We're in fourth quarter? Yeah.
We are in fourth quarter.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Okay,
this is
so
my...
wrapping up the year.
Yeah.
We'll make the intention. What is the archetype you need to be to close out this year?
Oh, God, I don't want to cry. All right.
You're
Here
so
we go.
cute. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open the space right now. And with your permission, do I have your permission to speak to God on your behalf?
Yes.
Great. The most important thing you need to be focusing on is obviously this podcast, this visual thing that you have going on. It is going to change where you take this, and this idea of what you have of this show. It's like you have like a little scrape idea of what it really is. There's a much bigger picture to it all. I keep seeing and hearing the word collaboration, teamwork, a unity of different larger voices in this world. So I do see you going into 2023 with partnerships that are here to open your doors. After March of 2023, the restrictions you have felt with getting this project off the ground will be done. Okay?
Okay.
And the reason why I say March is because you are entering into a season where you're laying the foundations in your life of the things that need to be worked on so that you could be the best leader possible, right? And these things that you're fixing within yourself are maturing you as an individual, as a boss, and it's even shaping your ego to help you with love. Loving everything, yourself, others, the journey. When things feel slow, that's just the ego outside telling you, I need you to go faster. Nothing is going slow because you're actually, and you've been healing a lot personally this year, and emotionally you've grown light years. Like it's beautiful what's gone on.
Yeah.
And maybe you might even notice that from now going into the end of this year, things will go a lot faster than they have. You'll notice like a speed. And it was because in a sense you were walking towards the top of the mountain, and it's like you were watching what was going to be up there, and you were letting yourself prepare and know how to get there and be the best version of yourself.
Okay.
So really quickly now, just pull a card.
Pull a card. Any card?
Anyone that you feel drawn to. And you can show everyone. Ooh, 3 of Wands. That is projects. Lots of projects and collaborations. Okay.
You just said this.
Yes. So you are moving into a space with this show that bigger names are coming. I would be thinking of distribution as far as it goes with this. Like, who would you like to put, like, where would you like to put this show on? Right? What kind of streaming networks, and anyone watching, you know? Get this guy before he blows up. Don't sleep on him. They'll be sad. And they will. But there is a brand style that you're going to bring to this show as you do the live stuff, that you're going to discover something new that you really, really, really like about it. So as you're editing, you will even notice like, ooh, I want to add this now.
Yeah.
Okay. And that'll expand this project. So now pull one more card for me.
Okay.
And this is going to be how you attack this. Okay, the best way for you to attack it. Great. Going after as many people in the industry that you can that want to collaborate, that feel like they need help as well. And even maybe finding an intern to grow with you. That's your next move. You need an intern. So I would look into like film schools, places like that. Ask for help. Anyone listening, if you want to intern with Archie, now's your time. But looking at this as creating your show and your network of it. And we talked about this earlier, and I'm going to bring it up, but you should definitely try stand up.
Okay, stand up.
Yeah. Because you'll meet people. That's the collaboration I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Don't worry that it might be too small production wise. Someone will see the worth in this.
Where do you see my patience lying as we're walking towards this whole future aspect of things? Because I struggle with that.
That's what's growing within you from now till March.
Yeah.
And I do see your ego having a bit of a breakdown. Not bad. It feels more like accepting that there's no race.
Yeah.
Right? The race is only yours. And you don't want to get to the end right now because then it's done.
Yeah.
Right? You want to live every single moment, every single beautiful part of this journey, even when it's hard, because it is growing you, and you will look back. And even when you have your big show, and even when you're in the perfect space and everything's worked out, you will go through these lessons.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Can you speak to my love life? Because it's actually it's like hot bologna on a summer day. And so where are we at with that?
Okay. It feels like for you, finding a partner requires you to be in a space where you're not in a rush. Okay? So every time you feel the impatience within of your career, you're driving a good relationship away. Because it feels like there's a sense where you're like, I'm in control of this timeline, so this has to happen, right? And then it's stopping you from flow, right? And the intake with love is all about flow. If you're giving out love to yourself and into the universe of like, I'm happy with and content with where I am, I love every single moment, and I give love to myself the same way I would to my own partner, boom, that's when you attract love. But when there's a worry and fear and doubt living within, even if it's about career, it pushes it out.
Got it.
So your Venus, when I looked at your chart, is in Taurus.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful space to have Venus. It's so loving. It's like one of Venus's homes is Taurus and Libra, right? So you're very much a love bug that knows how to give back the love and you know, just sit in that comfort of kind of like the beauty of falling in love. That's like the best space that you like to be in with your partner, is that beauty of it.
Yeah.
And that's what I do see for you actually. And we've done readings before.
Yeah.
But I see a very clear date right now.
Okay, what is it? Go ahead.
Summer of next year.
Ooh.
Okay.
Ooh.
You.
Not on camera. No, yes, go ahead.
Summer of next year, you're dating.
Oh, okay.
It's nice.
All right.
It's nice. It's nice.
You were the person who told me 31, I would be engaged or married.
Yeah, I've thought about that. Do you know I thought about that like the week you asked me to do this? I was like, how old is he again? I gotta think about it. I was like, are we doing that marriage time soon?
Yeah. Okay, well, on that note, thanks, Natalie, for coming to my show. No, I would have to ask you, though, how can people support you and what's next for Chloro?
So come to my stand-up shows. Yeah, come see me live. I'm going to be putting up a 30-minute show as Chloro to a musical Cuban cabaret. So very fun, very exciting. My husband's MDing it. You know, he's the music director, so it's really awesome.
Yeah.
But besides that, you know, if you follow me on Instagram, I have live performances. We'll also be screening a lot of my films. This year, I'm going to be screening, you know, some in October and some in November. And a really great way to support is if you want to collaborate too, to reach out to me, because I love collaborating with others and I love making new friends in the city. So.
Yeah, you're a light. You're a light.
Yeah.
One last question. What's the key to happiness?
Ooh, that's such a good question. The key to happiness, I feel, is being in love with your journey and being in love with even like the moments that don't feel good, right? Because I found with being in love with my hard moments, it actually brought the most beautiful things out of my life. You know, I struggled a lot with my mental health and everything, you know, and 2015 was a really hard year for me. I felt really depressed. But I realized that the only way I could get out of that was if I finally just stopped living in this state of hopelessness and telling myself, that's it. And maybe just changing that narrative, right? If I could change my reality, if I could accept that maybe life could be beautiful, it really could. And ever since I said, well, maybe it can, I just started to see every little beautiful thing around me, from like a flower to like someone's smile to like a moment like this, you know?
Yeah.
And then everything just started to feel happy.
Well, thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming. That's beautiful. I hope that everybody checks out her stand-up. And wow, what do I do with this? Do I take a photo of it? Do I hold on to it tight?
Frame it.
Well, thank you for coming. I mean, I'm almost gone, but cheers. Cheers to you.
Thank you, my friend.
Thanks
Cheers
for-
to you and your beautiful show. And your love story. Sorry.
Hey friends, thanks so much for tapping into this episode. Make sure you subscribe, like, and follow for more right here on YouTube and wherever you stream your podcast. Oh, and visit archiej.com and follow me on social media at ArchieJ Speaks, okay? And don't miss our weekly conversations right here on the Archie Podcast. Get into it.